Moving to Europe offers rich experiences, but it also comes with some challenges. One of the biggest things is the emotional shift in identity. When you move, you're no longer just American, you become the American. Your accent, your mannerisms, even things you never thought about stand out, like small talk or even your exuberance levels. Over time, it can make you feel a detachment from both the US and your new home. It leaves you in this weird limbo where you don't feel like you belong anywhere, really. Moving to Europe doesn't mean an instantly stress free, high quality life. While healthcare and work life balance are better, the change period is really tough. Bureaucracy is a nightmare. Social integration can be tough too. And if you move without planning, your salary and your living standard can be a shock as well. Adjusting to a new culture isn't just about learning the language or finding a place to live, it's about adapting to a completely different way of life, often in ways that you don't really expect. There are going to be moments when you're frustrated, you'll even feel isolated and maybe uncertain. It can also be surprising when you realize that you don't have the ability to express yourself fully in social situations. Even if you learn the local language, the nuance takes time. Humor, sarcasm, they don't always translate. It's almost like you're a duller version of yourself, and over time it makes socializing feel a little bit exhausting. This video, it's meant to prepare you, so when these challenges arise, you'll recognize them for what they are: normal. If you go to Spain, one of the first challenges you'll encounter is navigating the bureaucratic system. It's unavoidable. You'll have to secure a visa or a residency permit. Maybe you'll get to set up national health care, but you'll definitely need a bank account. Each of these things has its own set of requirements. The problem is, what you need to do is not clearly outlined. Paperwork often needs to be notarized or apostilled. Documents must be translated by an official translator. Responses from the government offices can take weeks or even months. It's not uncommon to show up for an appointment with everything you think you need and then be told that you're missing something essential that was never mentioned before. Patience and persistence are going to be your best friend. The more you prepare ahead of time, the smoother the process is going to be. Even with all the preparation in the world, it's important to expect delays and setbacks. You may think that making friends will be super easy, but social circles are often established over years, even decades. Spaniards are generally warm and welcoming, but forming deep friendships are going to take time. With this in mind, a lot of expats and immigrants, they end up relying primarily on foreigners for their social connections. I know I've done it. And it's because being a part of an expat community can provide a bit of comfort and a lot of support. But staying within that circle can also create a sense of detachment from the local culture. The goal is true integration that requires stepping outside of your comfort zone, learn the language, and be open to new ways of socializing. It's important to ask yourself this: are you looking to truly build a life in Spain, or are you just recreating a life that you had elsewhere in this new place? And the answer to that question is going to shape whether you have a good or a bad experience. For anyone planning to work, adapting to the workplace culture is going to be an adjustment. Many American professionals are used to direct communication and a relatively flat workplace hierarchy. From what I've read, in Spain, professional environments can be a bit more formal. Understanding unwritten workplace norms is going to take time, and you'll have to learn how meetings are conducted and how feedback is given, how business relationships are actually maintained. You'll probably make some mistakes, and that's okay, but the key is to observe and listen and adapt to the expectation. In my opinion, Spain's public healthcare system is excellent, but navigating it can be confusing at first. Understanding how to register and which services are covered and how to access specialists, it does require some research. For many expats, one of the biggest challenges is finding mental health support. While therapy is available, it'll be difficult to find English speaking therapists. Even if you do find one, there will still be a barrier to understanding. Like I mentioned before, there is nuance. Also, mental health services may not always be as readily accessible as it is in the US. If you need mental health support in Spain, it's worth researching your options early so you don't feel lost when the need arises. Finding a place to live in Spain, especially in major cities, can be more difficult than you expect. Rental markets in cities like Madrid and Barcelona are extremely competitive, and frankly, many landlords prefer local tenants with stable Spanish income sources. In some cases, you may even be asked to provide a large upfront deposit, proof of financial stability, even a local guarantor. And if you don't meet those criteria, securing housing can take longer than you may expect. It's important to start the housing search early and be prepared with all the necessary documentation. Opening a bank account in Spain often requires proof of residency, a local address, and a Spanish tax number. Without these, even simple financial tasks like setting up utilities or receiving payments will be complicated. For Americans, another challenge is managing taxes in two countries. The US requires its citizens to file taxes no matter where they live. This means you'll need to stay informed about how your residency in Spain affects your financial obligations back home. Seeking professional advice on tax compliance and financial planning, I recommend that highly. Personally, I still use an accountant in the US. Moving abroad doesn't just change where you live, it actually changes your sense of identity. After a while, you can find yourself caught between two cultures, but somehow you don't feel like you fully belong to either one. It can be especially noticeable when you visit home. You might realize that you've adopted new habits, new perspectives, even new ways of thinking. The experience, it could be both rewarding and disorienting. At the same time, if you rely only on an expat community for your social support, you might feel a sense of being an outsider in regards to the Spanish culture. And that's why it's so important to make efforts to involve yourself. I'm not saying to give up on where you come from, but it is important to be a part of the place that you're in, whether that means learning the language or participating in local traditions or even forming connections beyond other foreigners. All of that matters. The challenges of moving abroad, they're real, but they're also very manageable. Everyone experiences moments of frustration and uncertainty, but those are just moments within this journey. If you're feeling overwhelmed, just know that you're not alone. Thousands of people have navigated these same problems. With time, you're going to overcome them too. And the key is just to stay open and be adaptable. Be patient with yourself as you go through this process. Living in Spain is an incredible opportunity, but it's not just about where you live. A big part of it is how you choose to engage with the experience. YouTube wants you to experience this because you need a little more you time, and I support that for you. Okay, bye.